Hey guys, Suarez Digital here. First off, thank you so much for 230 subscribers. It really means the world to me, and I will continue to make more wholesome content for you all. Gremlins and measles, gather round. Today is a day of celebration, for I have finally acquired 15 copies of Sonic and Knuckles for the Sega Genesis. I normally don't brag, but I feel that this occasion needs to be seen by everyone. And ever since I accomplished this, I've been getting people asking me questions such as, "What's wrong with you?" Or, "What sane human would do this?" And in the confines of all these questions, one person did ask me, "Hey Suarez Digital, which one is your favorite cartridge?" Now that question is very hard to answer. It's like asking a parent which kid is their favorite. If you ask most parents, they're probably going to give you an empathetic none. I love them all equally. Do you guys smell that? This smells like bullshit. And just like millions of parents before us, I too am a liar. So today, I will be ranking my top 5 Sonic and Knuckles cartridges. Number 5. The pristine Sonic and Knuckles cartridge. I was too young to know what opening a brand new Sega Genesis game was like. As a young kid, my family didn't have a lot of money, so many of these games that they bought for us would usually be secondhand and often had some sort of damage or would be missing something. To this day, I still have these games and I treasure them since they have fond memories I associate with them. If I could go back in time and give myself some advice, I would tell little me to invest in Sonic and Knuckles cartridges. Just forget about buying junk food and having fun with your friends. Chocolate bars are temporary, but Sonic and Knuckles is forever. I bought this from a local mom and pop shop. The whole set from box to manual is in really good condition. To me, it's exciting because this is probably the closest I'll ever get to holding a near mint version of the game, especially when retro games are becoming more scarce to find these days. Number 4. Not for resale Sonic and Knuckles. In order to compete with the Super Nintendo, Sega lured customers in by bundling select games with their consoles, with the original Sonic the Hedgehog being the most noticeable example of this. These prepackaged games included the Not for Resale label printed on them to prevent sellers from selling these games separately, and this specific Sonic and Knuckles cartridge was packaged with Model 2 Genesis. And now, the prophecy is completed. Unlike the original Sonic the Hedgehog cartridge, which had the writing printed on the label, the Sonic and Knuckles variant only has a small bright yellow sticker in the front that reads, "Not for resale." I mean, what else were we expecting? Number 3. Blockbuster Sonic and Knuckles. So back in my day, we couldn't just download games from an online store. Video game blogs, videos, and reviews were few to non-existent, so we didn't have many ways to determine if games were good. You either had to hear from a friend, trust possibly a sketchy and biased website, or take a leap of faith and buy the game yourself. However, one saving grace were video game rental stores like Blockbuster and Hollywood Video. You could borrow a game to play, and if you liked it, you had the option to purchase the game from them. To this day, I am perplexed why anyone would buy this from them. To my recollection, they sold you a used game at a new game's price. Imagine buying a game only for it to come caked with stickers that are very hard to remove. You'll have an easier time getting rid of tails than you would removing these stickers. What was once considered a sin to all video games is now a time capsule, as these stickers are a relic of their time, showing us a window to a different world. To play is human, to rewind is divine. How thoughtful. And these label warnings were something else. If this label is broken, you must purchase this video. Sir, this is a video game cartridge. With video game rental stores being extinct, this now exists as an artifact of a bygone era that is only found within our hearts. Number 2. My first ever Sonic and Knuckles. I bought this game 10 years ago at a flea market for 50 cents. You can forget about the stock market. It's all about Sonic and Knuckles. This also marks the first time I ever saw this game in its cartridge form. As a kid, I never got to play this on the Sega Genesis. The first time I ever heard about this game was when my parents rented it on a school night. We weren't allowed to play it until after dinner. Yeah, for some reason when I told my parents that I was full, they accused me of faking it. And they told me that I wouldn't be able to play it unless I finished all of my food. And of course, I needed to play this game. So I said, challenge accepted. Okay, I didn't say that. So, I overate and fell into a food coma slumber right after, so the only one that got to play was my older brother. When I woke up, it was time to drop me off at the babysitter's, and when I finally got back, my parents had already returned the game. The second time, my uncle rented the game and invited us to come over to play, but for some reason, only my older brother was allowed to go over, and I was stuck at home, and thus gave birth to my issues of self-worth and low self-esteem. After that, I never heard of the game again, as everything started to transition towards the next generation of consoles. And for the longest time, I had to relive through my brother's retelling of the game. He would constantly tell me that Sonic could fly in this game, and that the zones were bigger, and that Eggman's boss battles were much more harder than the previous installments. And it wasn't until a couple years later that we finally got Sonic 3 and Knuckles collection for the PC. Once I finally bought this cartridge, I was finally able to experience real lock-on technology, and I finally beat the game on actual Sega hardware. Now you might be wondering, what on earth can beat all of these? It must be a signed copy. It must have a secret rare alternate track. It's probably sealed in box and completely brand new. But before we unveil it, here's my list of honorable mentions. I'm just kidding, we don't have that many cartridges. But here's a nice picture drawn by my dearest friend Maddie. It's Sonic and Knuckles alright, but to my knowledge, it's not exactly a cartridge, so it's really hard to determine where to rank it. So I figured, why not put it right here next to the main event? It does have Sonic and Knuckles, so therefore, I do believe it belongs on this list. It's beautiful and one of a kind, and definitely deserves the spotlight. So, the number one cartridge in my collection is this little fella right here. Now, to the untrained eye, it might just look like any old regular Sonic and Knuckles cartridge, but if you turn it around, you see that it was signed by some very wholesome jelly beans. And now you might be thinking, that makes perfect sense. Why? It was probably signed by Yuji Naka or Naoto Oshima, or maybe Ryan Drummond and Jason Griffith. Well, it's neither. This one straight up just has personal sentimental value. For you see, these names on the back belong none other than my roommates and friends that helped celebrate my birthday in the year 2021. And if you disagree, let me remind you, this is my list, and I do what I want. I'm a simple man, and when they asked me what I wanted for my birthday, I simply said, a Sonic & Knuckles cartridge signed by you guys. At this point, I'm pretty sure they didn't even know this game existed. But regardless, they got it for me, simple as that. Power of friendship plus sentimental value ranks it at the number one spot. And this doesn't discredit anyone else in my life. I do have multiple passions, but this is a Sonic & Knuckles specific list. And this is a Sonic & Knuckles cartridge. And in all fairness, it is a signed copy, very unique, and not found anywhere else. That, and combined with the sentimental value, makes it perfectly fitting for the number one ranked spot. Well, Miku, as you can see, I have stacked 15 Sonic & Knuckles cartridges on top of each other, so I do believe that it is within my power to declare that this is the number one cartridge to rule them all. Now, let's see what you get when you stack 15 Sonic & Knuckles cartridges together. Believe it or not, it's still just Sonic & Knuckles.